In this lesson, we're going to learn about a two-column proof and how to create one. And I'll give you an example. So in a two-column proof, the left column on the left side is each statement. And the right column gives the reason to the statement from the left. And again, the right column gives you all the information about why the left side makes sense. So each statement is either given information or follows from earlier statements by using a known mathematical rule or fact. I will be giving you an example so that you can grasp what this means. So let's use this example that I found. So let's say we're trying to prove, say we're given that triangle ABC, measure of angle A is 50 degrees. Measure of angle B is 60 degrees. Prove that measure of angle C is equal to 70 degrees. So the first information here that we know that is given is the measure of angle A is 50 degrees. That's given information. So that's part of the definition. So the statement on the left is telling us that, and with each of these statements you number them. You put a number on the left of it. So you can see on the right side we're giving the reason. We're writing that that's given information. And then the second one is measure of angle B is known to be 60 degrees. So again, that's given information. So you put that on the right side. Now the third one, so measure of angle A plus measure of angle B plus measure of angle C is equal to 180 degrees. So this is a known fact. Now I will be going through more lessons to explain why this is a fact in my next videos, but just remember that in a triangle, the angles inside of triangles sum to 180 degrees. So that's a known fact. So that's what we mean by that definition, that it comes from a fact or a rule. And so we go to number 4, 50 degrees plus 60 degrees plus measure of angle C is equal to 180 degrees. So again, sorry, going back to number 3, I missed that. On the right, we gave the reason. So we say the angles of a triangle add to 180 degrees. That's a known fact. So going to number 4, we're calling this the substitution property. If you go back to my last videos, I do explain what the substitution property is. So this is a known rule. And the reason we call it a rule is because we're following steps from before. So that's what the difference is from a fact. A fact is given information. We know that this is true. A rule is something we follow based on prior information. So if we look at number 3, measure of angle A, measure of angle B, measure of angle C is equal to 180 degrees. We can substitute these two for here, because we already know that measure of angle A and measure of angle B is 50 degrees from the given information. So we're using the substitution property. So we're putting the numbers here instead in number 4. So we're using that rule based on prior information. So 50 plus 60 plus measure of angle C is equal to 180 degrees. And the reason being the known rule of substitution property. So then we move on logically to the next step. 110 degrees plus measure of angle C is equal to 180 degrees. And all we did here was just simplify. We just added the 50 plus 60 to get 110. So now we can move on to the next step, number 6. So in number 6, it doesn't show. So what you're going to notice with the two-column proof, we're not showing you the steps. It's assumed that you already know the steps because you've learned them previously. So here we're just jumping to measure of angle C is equal to 70 degrees, which is what we wanted to prove. And how did we get there? We simply just subtracted both sides. So we used the subtraction property of equality. So this is another known rule based on prior steps. So we just subtracted both sides. So we added we subtracted minus 110, both sides minus 110, and that's what gave us 70 degrees. So we use the subtraction property. Again, I have these videos in my geometry playlist, so you can check them out there. So you can see that we went through all these logical steps, numbering them, and we reached our conclusion. So that's what the two-column proof is. So the left column gives you the statement, which is usually either given information, or it follows from earlier statements by using a known mathematical rule, a known property, or a fact, like we learned here, like a triangle has angles inside are always 180 degrees. So you can see all these steps are logical, and we reached our conclusion, and we proved that the measure of angle C is 70 degrees and gave the reasons on the right side. So that's what a two-column proof is. So you're going to use this in geometry a lot to prove something, to prove a concept or anything in geometry. You're going to be using these two-column proofs. There are going to be different types of proofs, but this is a major one to know. So if this was clear and helpful, please like the video, subscribe, and leave a comment.